Hey, cats. Another day, another dollar, was what they say. I'm retired, so not making any dollars. Well, I guess on my retirement benefits. But yeah, I had to get a fire going in there this morning. It was only 42 degrees and it was cold in here, so I needed to get a fire going to take the chill off in here. And it's really comfortable in here now. It's warming up nicely outside, though. I mean, you still need a jacket or something. Fall is coming on, and so just this week was the harvest moon, the big full moon. And for 2 days or 2 nights here, I mean, to look out across the yard, it was like daylight in the middle of the night. Now, last night it was pretty cloudy, so I didn't see any moon. But today the sky's pretty clear. I had quite a story about my old refrigerator. I had it sitting over here on the far side of the garage, and I tried plugging it into the outlet there, and it ended up tripping the circuit breakers. So that wasn't going to work. I didn't realize that this refrigerator has to have a 20 amp service. So I would have had to wire in a special line for it, and I thought that's not even worth it. I'm just going to get rid of it. And then the other thing was, I didn't want to try to sell it because it's an old refrigerator. I don't know how long it was going to last. So I put it up on Marketplace for free. And I thought, well, if somebody wants a free refrigerator, they can have it. And that way I'm not going to be liable for if something breaks and it doesn't work anymore. It was free, so now it's yours. Deal with it. Well, right away I got this woman from Akron, maybe 45 minutes away, and she said I can come and pick it up immediately. She's very interested in it. I said, oh, wow, well, cool. We'll come and get it then. Well, she says, I have an SUV. Will it fit in the back of my SUV? And so I gave her the measurements of the refrigerator. And I said, here's the measurements of it, so check your car and make sure it's going to fit. So a few minutes later, she says, yes, okay. So she says she's on her way. So I dilly-dally around out here in the shop. And about maybe 45 minutes later, she pulls in and she's got this SUV that's pretty much like my Nissan Rogue here. And I'm thinking that refrigerator ain't going to fit in there, but hey, maybe it will, I mean, it's square. It's 32 by 32. If we lay it down, slide it in, it might slide, right in if you put the seats down. So I open the back of her SUV and I measure it this way, and it's plenty of room. It's like 3 foot, and I only needed 32 inches. But I measure this way, and it was like 4 inches too short. And I'm like, lady, this refrigerator is not going to fit in your SUV. Well, she was a young black woman with a very sharp African accent, and I was having trouble understand her. But she kind of got it out that she didn't have any way to measure, and she didn't know how to measure it. So I says, okay. And she was real disappointed, though, because she really wanted the refrigerator. So I kind of molded around a little bit, and she was just kind of standing there scratching her head, like trying to figure out how she was going to get this refrigerator. And finally I said, you know what? I said, I'm retired. I got nothing going on. I said, let me take the tonneau cover off of my truck here. And I said, if you'll help me, we can load the refrigerator in the back of my truck, and I'll take it to your house and drop it off. she was elated. She was so happy. And a strong girl, too. She helped me get that refrigerator lifted up, slid it in the back of my truck. I strapped it down, and then I drove in the air. Now, it wasn't just in Akron. It was on the other side of Akron. So it took me a good 45 minutes to get there on the highway. And then a lot of back roads into a inner city type neighborhood. And she had a house there that she was staying in. And so she guided me to back up to her garage, which I did. And she opened her garage up. Now, her garage had all kinds of stuff in there, and I didn't really look around to see all what it was, but a lot of stuff packaged up, a lot of boxes and stuff. And so she said, we're going to put the refrigerator like right here against this wall. I said, okay. And I said, now I'm going to tell you something. I said, this refrigerator is going to need a 20 amp service. If you try to plug it into your garage, it's not going to work. And she said, oh, no, I'm not using it here. I'm shipping it to Africa. I said, did you say Africa? She said, yes. She said, it's for emissions. And I said, are you serious? You're sending my old refrigerator to Africa? And she said, oh, yes, it's very much needed there. I said, wow. I said, so you're from Africa? She said, yes, I'm from Cameroon. Well, I had to look at the map and see which part of Africa Cameroon was, but it's kind of like on the western side of Africa, of the continent of Africa, kind of in the middle. But that's their, and I don't know what it's like in Cameroon, but she said her whole family lives in Cameroon. And she came to the USA all by herself because they were very poor and they have no money in Cameroon. And she's making all the money here in the United States and sending it to her family. And she's trying to help with the missions there. And so apparently, I don't know if it was the church she's involved in or whatever, but they would take my refrigerator and a bunch of that other stuff and put it in a shipping container, and then that gets shipped over to the port there in Cameroon and gets distributed out to where it's needed. So I thought, man, how crazy is that? You know, that this lady would take my refrigerator and that my old refrigerator is going to Africa to serve some people there that aren't very well off. And to them, it would be a godsend. And actually, my old refrigerator worked very well. There wasn't anything wrong with it, except that the water dispenser wouldn't work. And then some of the drawers were broken, you know, that with the slides on them, which was kind of annoying me. And then I thought, well, this thing's like, you know, probably 20 years old, so it's time for a new refrigerator. And I just went ahead and bought a new one and thought I could use it here. But anyway, that's the story. The refrigerator is going to end up going to Africa. Wow, how weird. Anyway, you know, I hate putting things on Marketplace. I don't want to throw things away, and I want to find a good home for things, but I hate putting stuff on Marketplace because when you do, a couple of things. Number one, they have these auto reply, you know, where you can just click, is this still available? You don't have to really type anything in there. And I don't know, some people have happy fingers. They just scroll through Marketplace and they just click, is this available? Oh, is this available? Oh, is this available? And they never really follow up. So, you know, usually when I post something on Marketplace, I put, I will not respond to auto reply. If you want this, you're going to have to tell me you want it and how you want it and what time you want it. So, you know, you got that. The other thing I don't like about the Marketplace is that, you know, like yesterday, well, it took that lady an hour to get here, and I was expecting that. But during that time, I'm kind of stuck here like, waiting for her to arrive and then wondering, is she going to arrive or is she not going to arrive? Is she going to be here when she said she is or isn't she? Well, the other thing I did was I had my old compound miter saw sitting over here. And I haven't used it since I built the house. I used it a lot when I built the house. But it had been somewhat damaged. The fence was broken on it. The original fence was broken on it. And I'd replaced the fence with a 2x4, which wasn't ideal. And it never cut accurately. No matter how I tried to calibrate it, it wouldn't cut like a 90 degree. It would, but it wouldn't be perfect. When you put the square on it, it was always off a little bit. And, I wanted more of an accurate cut. I wanted my joints to be tight, not crooked. So then I just only used it for rough stuff, that didn't really matter. But for years it sat there and I didn't even use it. So I did put it on Marketplace for free. I wasn't going to try to make any money on that. I just wanted somebody to take it out of here for me. Some of these things, sometimes you think, you know what, I'll pay you if you take this away, because that way I don't have to deal with it. It was like this with the refrigerator. It's like I would have had to load it on my truck and take it down to the recycle plant and probably have to pay like $20 to dump it off there. So giving it away to somebody for free is a better deal for me. Well, the lady that wanted the compound miter saw, she told me that she had a doctor's appointment, that she would be here at 2 o'clock. Well, first she said she would be here at 1:30, and then she pushed it up to more like 2 o'clock. So 2 o'clock came and I got another text. She said, I won't be able to be there till 3 o'clock. So I said, okay. So in the meantime, here I am, like twiddling my thumbs, figuring, okay, well, she's not going to be, I'm already here at 1:30, 2 o'clock, and she's not here. Now I got to wait another hour. And I wanted to do some things too. I wanted to get some groceries done and things in town. But I'm stuck here waiting for her. Well, she didn't show up here till 4 o'clock. And her and her boyfriend. And then we couldn't get the saw to, she had a small SUV too. And we couldn't get the saw to fit into her SUV. We had to take the compound miter saw off of the stand that it was on and load them in separately. And so there was a lot of dinking around with that. But we finally got her loaded up and out of here. And by then it was like almost going on 5 o'clock when I finally left here to do my groceries. And, it's like a full day of Facebook Marketplace insanity is what I call it. And, even though I was successful in getting rid of those things, it took me all day to get rid of them. But, hey, what's done, it's done. So coming up here on Sunday, I've got I got 3 different appointments for the day. And I can only do one. And one of them is riding with my bros. So guess which one I'm going to do? I'm riding. Sorry about the other ones. Not going to make it because I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to pick and choose because you really don't want to dish your friends, but there's only one of me and I can only go one direction. Well, I'll tell you what, the temperatures have really gone down. There was like frost warnings for last night. I'm going to have to break out the old leather jacket again for riding. I still got V's leather jacket in here too. Little leather purse she carried with her. Nothing in there. You know what? I haven't really taken her stuff out of this closet because back here, this was her jacket, still hanging there. This was her jacket, still hanging there. All these were her, winter coats. So I did take some to the, some of her heavier winter coats I donated already. But these ones are more dress coats. And then her leather, I just couldn't part with it. I also have my chaps up here. I don't think I can fit into them anymore. I was a little more slim and trim when I wore the chaps. So, I haven't worn chaps for years, to be honest with you. But I will wear my leather now. It'll always fit in the Panair bag, so not a big deal. I don't know if I showed you or not, I don't remember, but I put the new garage door seals on my garage. They just slide in from the end on a track, and they said, when you put them on, leave them extend out here at least an inch beyond the edge of the door. My old ones were like an inch short, and that's how the mice were getting in. So now they're all sealed up pretty good along the bottom. And I've been checking my mouse traps every day. This one. There's a couple more over there. No more mice. So that was the ticket right there. Now, on this garage door, before I put the, I don't know if you can see how the ends have like the little T on there, and they just slide into a channel. So you just slide them in from one side. Put a little soap on them so they slide easier, and they just go right in. So it was kind of a easy installation. But when I pulled the old one out of this garage door, I was shocked because inside the rubber, these are like, like hollow. I found this snake skin. Yeah, it's like 3 foot long snake skin. So a snake had crawled in the open end there and shed its skin inside there. And I never saw the snake. I had no idea there was a snake living inside my garage door. So I found that was pretty weird. Now, I don't have any fear of snakes, to be honest with you, at all. No phobias about it. I don't even blink an eye about catching them and throwing them out in the woods if I find them around the house, which I do commonly. The one thing that I like about Ohio, living here, is we don't have any poisonous, venomous snakes. Well, we do, but you won't find them around here in my neighborhood at all. No matter how hard you try. We don't have rattlesnakes. We don't have copperheads. If you go way up north towards Lake Erie, out over towards the New York end, there's kind of a marsh area out there. And I guess they have these, what they call Massasauga rattlesnakes. They're like a swamp rattlesnake, and they're somewhat venomous. But and then down southern Ohio, I think you'll find copperheads. I don't know if there's rattlesnakes down there, but there's no poisonous, venomous snakes around here whatsoever. We don't have any venomous spiders here. Really, nothing really to be too worried about. It's actually a pretty safe wilderness. Well, you do have your hazards here. Poison ivy, the ticks. You can get the tick. I've never gotten a tick here on my property, but my brother said he had a tick crawling on him when he was here, and I said, "Are you sure it was a tick? Because all the years I've been here, I've never ever seen a tick." "Oh yeah, it was a tick. It was crawling on my leg." And I'm thinking, that's probably a weevil or something. I highly doubt that it was a tick, but he swears that it was. He said he knows what a tick is, and he said this was definitely a tick. So then they are around. I'm not saying that it's not that it's impossible. But I'm just saying, I've never in all the years, and I've been down on the ground pulling weeds and hiking back in the woods here and whatever. The worst that ever happens to me is, I get a little bit of poison ivy, but I don't really break out real bad with it because of my career with the parks. I was around poison ivy all the time, and they say that eventually you get immune to it. And I honestly believe I have an immunity to it because I really don't get it much at all. I can pull it out by the roots with my bare hands, and I don't even break out. So, whereas other people, all they got to do is practically breathe it in the air, and they break out terribly. I have been bitten by spiders before, but they're non-venomous. So what happens is you just get like a little festered red spot on your skin wherever they bit. Mostly they get me on my legs. When I'm crawling around on the ground pulling weeds or working in the garden or something, spider might crawl up my leg and bite me. And you don't even feel it. I mean, it's not like a bee sting or anything. You don't even know you got bit until, maybe you're in the shower and you look down and you go, oh my gosh, I got a spider bite there. But they're anything serious. They just itch a little bit. And after a week or so, they kind of go away. My son, when he was serving, and he was in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, going through paratrooper school, 82nd Airborne Paratrooper School. They were out on a 2-week bivouac, and they were not allowed to, take off their boots at any time. They had to be 100% war ready all the time when they were out there. Well, it finally came to the day where the company commander said, all right, soldiers, you can take your boots off, dry out your socks. My son took off his boot, and he had this big gangrenous sore on the side of his ankle. The company commander looked at it and said, son, you got bit by a spider. It turned out it was a brown recluse bite, and those are venomous. So they life flighted him or medevaced him. I wouldn't say life flight. They medevaced him to the hospital. They ended up having to, first they injected saline into his leg until it, came out of the wound, trying to flush the venom out. But they ended up cutting a chunk off of his leg because it actually had killed the tissue, the skin tissue, and they had to get rid of it. It was like rotted. And that's the way the spider bite is it rots the flesh. So, yeah, he still has kind of a dent in the side of his leg where he got bit by that spider many years ago. They do say we have brown recluse around here, but it's rare if you ever find one, and because like their name, they're very, very reclusive. They probably hide under the bark of a dead tree or something like that. But the odds of getting bitten by one, they said you almost have to lay on it because they don't have enough strength to inject their venom into you with their fangs. You have to push them into you. So if you got one under your clothing or something and you rubbed it, you might push it into your flesh and receive a bite that way. So, I have no fear of that, even if I did find one. I mean, the odds of getting bitten by one are kind of slim, I'd say. So, not even an issue. When I was a kid, when we lived over in Hinckley, maybe about 20 miles from here, and my brother, he said he found a brown recluse crawling on the bedroom floor. And nobody believed him. Well, after a day or two, he ended up catching the spider, and he put it in a jar, and he took it down and he showed it to my mom and dad, and they said, wow, you know what, that kind of looks like a brown recluse. The brown recluse is kind of a brown spider, and it has like a violin type shape on its back. So it's pretty easy to identify, and this kind of fit the description very well. Well, they took it into the health department, and the health department looked at it, and they said, that looks like a brown recluse to us. We're going to send it for further testing. And I guess, from what I understood, the way I was told it, they shipped it to Texas to a facility there that could test the venom of the spider, and it came back positive that it was a brown recluse. Well, as I remember, there was like three men that showed up from the health department, and they were all wearing those white paper suits that were all taped around their gloves, their legs, and everything. And they searched through the whole house. They looked under the beds and everything, and then they went up in the attic. Well, up in the attic, my mother had a collection of pine cones that she had picked up when we were in California in the sequoias. And as it turned out, those pine cones had the brown recluse eggs in them. And the spiders had hatched, and they found probably a dozen specimens in our attic. So there were brown recluse in our house, and we were unaware of it until my brother blew the whistle on them. We had to evacuate the house for a couple days while they bombed it with insecticides to kill the spiders. And you know what? I don't remember. I was just a kid at the time, so I don't even remember if there was a cost with that. I think it was just something that the health department did back then. I mean, that would have been in the 60s. But I don't really remember a whole lot about it. Well, I left my hoodie in here from the other day. I always forget that this motorcycle, this Ultra, has a key fob, and if you don't have the key fob with you, you can't get anything open. It's locked up. So that means I got to go in the house and get the key fob to get my hoodie out of there. Hey, just something I got to get used to, I guess. I've done that more than once, though. I come out here and it's like, wait a minute, I don't have the key fob. I can't do anything with this one. I can start it up right now. It doesn't have any kind of a security system on it, so to speak. Trackers, yeah, but other than that, no. Well, cats, I'm going to get ready to head out of here on two wheels, but I got to get myself dressed for it because it's a little nippy here, a little chilly. And I appreciate your support, though, and for watching my videos. If you like it, hit me with that thumbs up thing. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and continue to join us. Till next time, cats, I'll catch y'all later.